Brothers and sisters, we dedicate this to you who have chosen life in the food you eat. The world desperately needs your awareness of aliveness. It seems to us you are being called upon as never before. We are at a point in history without precedent. There is no doubt in my mind that a meltdown is right around the corner. Let's look at the economy from the point of view of aliveness. Its smallest cell is a commodity. A pack of pistachios, for example, constitute a commodity. Pecans, a cell phone is a commodity. All of these circulate. They circulate each day in phenomenal amounts. And they exchange. And this is the true miracle. The pistachios, in proper proportions, exchange for pecans. And these in turn exchange in the correct proportions for a cell phone. What can be these utterly different material things, yet in the market exchange with one another in well-defined proportions? This is a daily miracle. And these commodities produce other commodities. Of course, this exchange is mediated by means of money. Money acts as a medium of circulation and enables, in effect, these utterly different material things to circulate in exchange for one another. Each day, commodities and labor are combined to produce commodities. There we have it. Production of commodities by means of commodities. This does not stand still. It expands. It grows. And here we have it. These things hold center stage. They hold the spotlight. They socialize in the marketplace. So we have social relations between things and material relations between people who are in the background, the producers. And needless to say, have people ever been more lonely, more isolated, more atomized? Money here functions, as I said, here merely as a medium of circulation. This living entity, the economy, is wondrously complex. And it's sustained by the intentionality and energy of 160 million working Americans. The sea of commodities is alive. It has a pulse, a metabolism, a circulation. It even has cycles. It has rhythm. We call these booms and busts or recessions. Since 1929, there have been 13 recessions. Think of it. In the Great Depression of 1929, gross national product fell 26%, and unemployment rose to 21%. a fifth of the labor force out on the streets. We all remember the Great Recession of 2007, when GDP fell 5% and unemployment rose to 10%. Now, over the last decade, the economy has grown exceedingly slow. Growth in 2019 was an anemic 1.2%, the lowest gain since the crisis of 2012-2013. Wages have stagnated for ordinary Americans. This is symptomatic of deep structural problems, and they go back long before the pandemic. Don't blame it on the virus. True, it has exacerbated the crisis, but it is not the cause. In any event, desperate to avoid a collapse, the central bank, the Federal Reserve, has done something altogether unprecedented. It has resorted to the printing press. It has created trillions of dollars out of thin air, lending this money to banks, insurance companies, and corporations. Looking back to our considerations of reproduction of commodities by means of commodities, we see that the resort to the printing press is altogether outside the normal working of the economy. Printing press money has created an enormous stock market bubble and a real estate bubble. Some have become fabulously rich, whereas for the most part, you have people living on the edge in uncertainty, facing ever higher prices. And tragically enough, a whole population even living in the streets. The top 0.1% own as much wealth as the bottom 90%. The middle class is shrinking. America is becoming polarized as never before. This exceedingly slow growth of the last decade is but a symptom. To ascertain the cause, we have to go deeper. Now, America was at the forefront of the Industrial Revolution. It was America that showed the world how to mass produce everything, from automobiles to television sets to airplanes. But now we are witnessing something new. The deindustrialization of America. Tens of thousands of factories have left the United States in the past decade alone. Millions upon millions of manufacturing jobs have been lost in the same period. The United States has lost a whooping 32% of its manufacturing jobs since the year 2000. This comes to 5.5 million manufacturing jobs lost, gone. We have shifted our manufacturing base to China to take advantage of cheap labor. China has become the workshop of the world, while America has gone from a manufacturing economy to one based on finance, insurance, and real estate. America has made itself uncompetitive. Fake money is no solution. Let's go deeper still. Let's just take a glimpse down into a deeper stratum, the drive towards automation and artificial intelligence means that white-collar jobs, better paid professionals with bachelor's degrees, along with production workers, may be laid off. This is definitely in the offing, and fake money, goosing the economy with trillions of dollars printed out of thin air, is no solution for this. The growth of debt in the United States is incredible. The federal government now owes $28 trillion that it cannot pay. And this is up from $2.2 trillion 40 years ago. The country as a whole, including the private sector, owes over $80 trillion that it cannot pay. Tragically enough, prices have started to rise aggressively as a result of the increased money supply. Just look at the prices of organic fruits and vegetables. Look at where the price of organic avocados, for example, is going. Not to mention other fruits and vegetables. Inevitably, interest rates will skyrocket to reflect the depreciation of the currency. The response has been one and the same: print more money. Millions of renters are behind in their payments. Some 30 to 40 million people face potential eviction. As things implode, the response of the Fed will be print more money. As Bill Bonner, an astute observer, says, rather than cut back on spending, both parties are committed to covering these unpayable debts by printing money, a policy that always leads to bankruptcy, poverty, depression, and inflation, as well as social and political chaos. Here in California, the price of gas has almost reached $4 a gallon. This is sure to make all other prices rise. It's so sad to go into a store and look at the prices of organic food. Normally, rising interest rates would dampen the rise in prices, but they can't let that happen, because if interest rates rose, the stock market bubble and the housing market bubble would go pop. There would be a chain reaction of bankruptcies. Print more money is their only response. There is no way out. There is no way for them to stop. The Fed has entrapped itself. As Bill Bonner, an astute observer, tells us, 40 years ago, in the month of March, the federal government collected $44 billion in tax revenue and spent $53 billion. The feds were $9 billion in the hole. But just last month, the feds collected $267 billion in tax revenues, but they spent $926 billion, a record 926 billion in 1 month. And this resulted, needless to say, in a record monthly deficit of $660 billion. A deficit on 1 month. Going back years before, this used to be the entire amount of federal spending in a year, and now it's spent in 1 month. How are they going to cover this? Print more money. There's no way for them to stop. Brothers and sisters, please, growing the food we eat is no longer an option. It's a necessity. Every backyard, every front yard, an heirloom apple orchard, every vacant lot, a community garden. You planted some 20 million victory gardens during World War II that produced over 40% of the vegetables that were consumed. You can do it again. We are relying upon you. It's no longer a question of sustainability. It's a question of redemption. Let us go forward. Let us go forward and redeem ourselves and recreate ourselves and regenerate ourselves and bring about the new birth of freedom that Abraham Lincoln prophesied. We welcome your comments and suggestions. They're invaluable.